Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wii Studio, and today I'm here with a brand new video for you guys. I'm going to be talking about Riverdale Season 5, Episode 9, titled Chapter 85, Destroyer. Before I get into it, I just want to say a couple of quick things. First of all, if you can please subscribe to my channel down below, I would really appreciate it because I'm trying to go hitting 350 subscribers by the end of this month, March, and we only have a few more days left in the month. We are at 345, so I'm hoping to get 350 by March 31st at midnight, technically. So that is my goal for this channel. So yeah, and if you can comment down below your feelings about this episode of Riverdale, your overall thoughts on it, I'll really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. So my overall thoughts were okay episode, not great. I'm still questioning some things. I'm not particularly fond of the football stuff. That was a little bit cheap for me. The mystery stuff is a little bit cheap for me. The Kevin stuff was a little bit weird, but I kind of think I enjoyed it by the end. So it feels like old Riverdale has come back, and I was hoping, and I knew it would get to this point at some point that I think it was going to go downhill. Some people were hoping it would get better, but unfortunately, it just seemed like it's going downhill once again because I thought it was going to get better, but no, it's still at this point. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into the football game. So, pretty much the Bulldogs are not doing that well. They've barely even scored points throughout the season. And Cheryl is done. She does not want her cheerleaders to be wasting their time at football games where, you know, their fellow Bulldogs aren't, you know, scoring any points. Cheryl doesn't want that time wasted, which kind of makes sense, but it's Cheryl, you know, she did it in the most sassy way possible. So, you know, I mean, the thing is that they're trying to get, Archie and Veronica are trying to get the Bulldogs, like, spirits up, so Veronica offers 10 grand to the first Bulldog player who can score a point. That's pretty much what they're saying. Which, it's Veronica, of course she's going to have that kind of play, and I mean, no coaches would offer that. I wish Veronica was, like, my coach, because 10 grand, I mean, I'm not good at football, but the chances, you never know if you're playing with kids like this. But, like, you know, I didn't know if they were going to kind of throw back to last season and have the Stonewall Stallions, like, cheat or whatever. They probably did cheat somewhere in there. But, like, you know, I didn't exactly necessarily, like, see, like, a rivalry. And I guess it didn't have to be a rivalry at this point. I mean, there is one. But, like, Jughead, of course, doesn't go to school there. So it doesn't really feel like Stonewall. Probably feels like a completely different school. So, yeah, Archie and Veronica are also officially back together, so I'm not necessarily fond of that, but to those Archie fans out there, good for you. So they decide, what if they host a pancake breakfast to raise awareness of the football team, to recruit more players, and to raise money. Archie agrees to that idea. So Veronica goes to Tabitha, and she agrees. I like that Tabitha's interacting with other people. And then Archie and Veronica go to Cheryl, and she refuses to lend some maple syrup for the event because she thinks that they're wasting their time as cheerleaders promoting, like, you know, and, like, helping out, like, this football team that's not doing good. So then Archie goes on the loudspeaker, and here's the one Barchie crumb I noticed, parallel to Season 1, Episode 6, Betty is gets her attention up when she hears Archie on the intercom, just like Betty got her attention up when she heard Archie singing on the intercom back in Season 1, Episode 6. So parallel there. Maybe, I mean, that's the only Barchie crumb I saw this episode. Maybe you saw more, but that's the only one I saw. I think that they're going to interact next episode, and I'll talk about that in my promo reaction. So I think that, the pancake breakfast was a good idea, but of course Reggie was going to come in and interrupt it, saying that, you know, he asked Riverdale High to withdraw from the leagues because they're not doing well, and, like, because the Riverdale High is becoming more popular, not necessarily the football team, but the school itself, it's bringing down Stonewall, and, like, you know, and that's trouble for them, but of course they decline. So then, so Veronica decides to recruit T-Dubs, who's, like, a famous football player or whatever. I mean, I don't know him really, but he kind of comes in to, like, you know, play for them, and also, like, give them some motivation that, you know, you guys are the Bulldogs, you guys need to, you know, succeed, because Bulldogs is, like, better than Stallions, which I do agree is a better name. You know, you need to be tough, and you need to you just need to succeed, and that's pretty much what he says. So yeah, Veronica brought him in, and then some Stonewall, and just some more people come in, and Riverdale High is growing as a football team, so I do really enjoy that. So now, like, everything's coming up for them, but Hiram, well, Veronica and Hiram make a wager, is what's going on, for, Veronica says that if the Bulldogs score, then Hiram needs to lay them alone, but if they don't score, then they'll withdraw from the league, so they make that wager. Once Hiram finds out that Riverdale High is, like, you know, it's increasing in, like, people for the football team, and Stonewall Stallions is, like, starting to decrease a little bit, you know, he gets frustrated, and he asks Reggie to, like, do, like, a little scheme for him, and Reggie's not interested. So then Hiram decides to fire him, and he takes over as coach, and Reggie decides to sit with the Bulldogs. So a little bit of redemption for him there, I thought, personally. But the main player, Derek, at Rhoda High, went over to Stonewall Prep, because Archie might have been a little bit too trying to get his mom to agree with the football team standards and stuff like that. So now they're pretty much, like, down. That was before then. Now they're picking back up. Of course, Stonewall wins the football game, but Riverdale High scores a touchdown, and Britta, she does it, which I think was a very powerful movement to have a girl be the one to score the first touchdown. And Hiram, of course, throws a fit. So, and Derek, although he's on the Stonewall team, him and Archie have a little exchange, so I'm not sure if we'll get any more of that, or if this is the last time that we even see a lot of these kids, you know. Speaking of kids, I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the whole Jughead storyline, which intertwines with Betty in a second. But one of Jughead's students wrote a story about the Mothman. And Jughead wonders, how does this kid have any personal connection to the Mothman? Because only Jughead, Tabitha, Popte, Mana Rose, and a few other people, and the old man Dreyfus, know about the Mothman. So he starts to wonder, is this kid, Lerman, I think, is he having encounters with the Mothman? How is he connected to it? But maybe Jughead pushes a little bit too far, because then Lerman's parents come in and say that Jughead was being too pushy and trying to build these fantasies into Lerman's mind, and they don't want Jughead teaching him anymore. Mr. Weatherby agrees. He was annoying me this episode. Like, he was so against Jughead that he did not need to be. Well, maybe Jughead shouldn't have done that. Maybe he needed to go to the parents first and ask, you know, is there any, like, sort of connection, instead of asking Lerman. But, you know, I mean, if anything, like, that would get the parents even more upset. Yeah, I mean, but I kind of get where the parents are coming from. Mr. Weatherby, he was annoying. So, to me, I think that Lerman is connected. I think that he is being abducted by aliens, and something's messing with his mind. And I'll talk about that in a second. Moving over to the whole Betty side of things, she finds out that the blood is a match that was found at that broken, smashed phone booth that Polly called from, and then she disappeared in at the end of last episode. It is Polly's blood. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's dead, but she's thinking that is, because Glenn kind of convinces her that is, and Betty goes off on him saying, you know, I don't want you to sympathize with me, because if you cared about me at all, you would help me and my sister. So then she hangs up on him. So she decides to, you know, she's trying to figure things out, like, is Polly, like, really, you know, I mean, what's going on there? So she goes to Cheryl and asks her, did you want to find out for real that your brother was dead? You know, I mean, did you want necessary suspense? And Cheryl says, it makes it easier when you know the truth. It makes it easier because then you can get closure. Really nice Benny and Cheryl scene, by the way. Really well done. I think that these characters, when they are in scenes together, they work really well. Just like parallel to Season 4, Episode 18, although I did not necessarily like that Cheryl told Betty to stay with Jughead. But, you know, I think that they work so well together, and that Cheryl's kind of like almost like an older sister in a way, to Betty. I mean, I think that Cheryl is starting to redeem herself, I think. She still has her issues, but, you know, I think that she's starting to, and I think that, again, the Betty and Cheryl scenes are excellent. They're so well done. I really do like them. Moving on to, Betty lies to Alice and says that the blow is not a match for Polly. So then Alice takes a complete 180 and is now completely happy again. So then Betty tells Jughead that Polly is dead, and he mentions that Polly seemed to be in some sort of spaceship. So she decides. Well, he asks her if he would want to see Old Man Dreyfus to find some connection to the Lonely Highway, because that was where Polly was taken. So yeah, he takes her there, and this guy doesn't necessarily help. All he knows is that he believes that the Mothman's real, and that, you know, he likes to take people, but Betty is not buying it, because, you know, there's even, like, a little argument between Betty and Jughead here. Jughead is so invested in this alien/Mothman stuff, and Betty just wants to find her sister. Well, there's something in Jughead's past that is important, too. Betty liked it when they were on the same side as things, and now she's just not buying how Jughead is too involved in this mystery, because, you know, all she wants to do is find her sister, and Jughead is, you know, I mean, he brings her. It's such a waste of time, but she says, I'm not gonna let this person keep taking girls. It's just pure evil. And, you know, she will not let it happen to anyone else. So she loads a gun and she heads to a place where she beats up truckers. And the trucker that apparently was the one in the car with Polly from a few episodes back is the one who chased her at the end of episode 5 when she was running away. She holds him at gunpoint and beats him up. But before she could shoot the gun at him, Jughead calls. And it turns out that Lerman was on the side of the Lonely Highway. Yeah, so Lerman was on the side of the Lonely Highway, and he asked Jughead, did it happen again? So obviously, alien abduction going on. Is this just a one-time thing? I don't know. But the parents say, we're sorry that this happened, maybe we need to watch Lerman a little bit closer. Is this the end of this whole student thing? I'm not sure, but definitely interesting. How is, like, what is this going on? Like, what does Lerman have? How does his Lerman connected to the Mothman? And what does the story mean? Like, how much does he know? I don't think this is done. And has, like, you know, Lerman met Polly before in that week of time? I'm not sure if it will overlap before. But so many interesting layers to this thing, and I'm glad that these mysteries are connecting. Not that I want Betty and Jughead to get back together, but I think that they make sense to go together because, you know, I mean, I think that it's more interesting to have Polly being abducted by aliens than being abducted by a trucker. So I'm liking that the mysteries are tying together. I think that is really cool. And then Glenn shows up at the end of the episode and says that and Alice is in tears because Betty lied to her. Glenn says that he is taking over Polly's case for Betty, and Betty's mad at Glenn, and Glenn says, you know, you need to work out your issues, and maybe it's better if I take over the case. So Alice is obviously frustrated with Betty, and interesting to see where this mother-daughter pairing goes. I'm assuming Betty and Glenn are broken up by now based on the promo that I watched. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, what is going on with Polly? Is she really dead? Mid-season finale is next week, so maybe we'll get a big cliffhanger at the end of it. Okay, moving on to the last thing I want to talk about, and that is Kevin. So, I guess Fangs and him are broken up, technically. Cheryl realizes that she needs to make amends with him, so she brings Kevin and Fangs to couples therapy. But turns out that Kevin is moving out of Tony and Fangs' apartment. Tony has no mention, well, a few mentions, but she's not in this episode because Vanessa Morgan is at this point not having her baby. But she is on maternity leave right now, and she won't be in the show for a little while. She won't be in it, I think, until more like episode 14, 15, 16, around there. She'll be back before the end of the season to add more to the story, specifically probably reuniting with Cheryl and, like, the whole thing with solving the King's problem. So yeah, Cheryl brings Kevin and Fangs to couples therapy, and Fangs admits that he thinks that Kevin is ashamed to being gay, which he is, and that he doesn't want a real open relationship with him because he's too scared, and that's why he's always been cruising out to Fox Forest. And Kevin says, Fangs, stop, and then he leaves because he doesn't want to admit his problems, especially to Cheryl. He tells Cheryl to stop butting out of their lives. So yeah, he's kind of like, he's frustrated because he wants to keep these things to himself. He shouldn't necessarily do it, but he's just having these issues. Moving on, and then he meets this person in a sauna, and Kevin thinks that this guy is gay, and he puts his hand on the other person's knee, and then that guy strikes back and says, are you serious? Did you think I was one of you? Did you think I was messed up like you? So obviously this guy has something against Sammy. I don't think it's anything personal. And then he beats Kevin up, and then later on in the episode, I mean, I do like how we're getting this backstory to Kevin, like him, like really struggling with his sexuality. I kind of wish we got it sooner, but at least we're getting it now. I think that that is a good thing. And then Kevin tells his dad that, you know, he kind of says, like, thank you for being so supportive of me being gay, but there is one comment that his mom made, which we've hardly got any connection to or any mentions to Kevin's mom. Apparently, Kevin's mom, while they were doing back-to-school shopping, Kevin's mom says maybe we need to buy you, like, husky clothes, apparently. And that got Kevin so upset that he went out to Fox Forest, and that just kind of became a thing. And he says that that is what made him, you know, be so ashamed of his sexuality because of that comment that his mom made. So then Kevin and Tom have a really sweet father and son scene that I did really enjoy. I'm hoping that we'll get more to this Kevin storyline. I think that we've just really scratched the surface to him really dealing with this tough issue. Tom being there really helps. So I'm excited to see this whole Kevin storyline in full. Will it get back together with Fangs? I don't know what's going to happen. So that's kind of the end of my review. Comment down below your feelings on this episode. I thought it was a decent episode. I would love to hear your thoughts on it, though. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching my studio. Like, comment, subscribe, turn your post notifications so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching, and bye.